dedicated to my mom's reading it. All right, I'm just going to read the book. Okay. So I guess can you hear me? No. Really? Okay. So this story is about, well, I think it's all in there. I'll just start reading. Shanna walked along the canal on herring rocks towards Marta's house, thinking about the painter's curious way of smiling at the sea and at his dog. Such pleasure he took in his world. She gazed at the carefully preserved canal boats on the water and sniffed at the puffs of smoke that floated from the coffee shops where middle-aged men gathered at small tables on the street to read newspapers and ogle the beautiful Dutch women. Shanna loved the contradiction of Amsterdam, the quaintness and cuteness of the Dutch aesthetic pressed against the grit that had accumulated there since the Dutch had kicked out Habsburg Spain. Marta had explained to her more than... I need my glasses. You want mine? Yeah. Thank you. All right. It's sexier when you put the whole lady so much. Okay, I'm going to read that sentence. Shanna loved the contradiction of Amsterdam, the quaintness and cuteness of the Dutch aesthetic, pressed against the grit that had accumulated there since the Dutch had kicked out Habsburg Spain. Marta had explained to her more than once that with the Peace of Münster in 1648, the Dutch finally gained independence and vowed in earnest to always be tolerant and to be free of any Catholic-style moral oppression, even if it meant the eventuality of hookers and hash. At Marta's, Shanna rang the bell, a heads up to Beatrice and Christine that she was there, and turned the key in the lock. It wasn't fair that Christine looked so beautiful when she came bounding toward the door. Something inside her had always writhed darkly, but her body was built from Nordic stardust, elfin pixie magic crystalline stuff. Her eyes were white blue, and her hair was white blonde, cut into a blunt page boy at the moment. Also at the moment, her pupils were tiny black dots, as if she knew heroin would contract the darkest part of her body and leave her a mesmerizing white apparition, like some astonishing flash of purity. Shanna and Christine had shared a flat in Amsterdam for 9 years. They'd met in Milan half-dressed backstage at a runway show and had adopted each other almost instantly. The ghost-white Swede and the cocoa-brown American took to each other for no apparent reason. Other than that, they were both wide-eyed young things with futures and fashion. They were living out of suitcases when they picked Amsterdam, literally out of a Maison Trèclé chapeau, on a ferry ride from Delta from a photo shoot for Valentino. A few years later, when modeling jobs dwindled, supermodels pushed behind celebrities and less supermodels behind them, Shanna worked some connections to get her first photography job, partnering with Metropolitan Agency to shoot models in Paris. Christine found a high-end niche as a prostitute. Shanna didn't like the idea, but she believed Christine's clients were gentlemen who treated her respectfully. And how was that so different from a blind date she reasoned? And why shouldn't a wealthy man share his money for a favor? Besides, she knew objecting wouldn't stop Christine. Christine had been open with Shanna about her heroin use on the phone, not realizing it would make Shanna less and less inclined to talk to her.